Hi trader, welcome to my weekly Forex video with Admiral Markets, taking a look at the US dollar in more detail. First though, be aware of these disclaimers. The fact that this video is shown to a global audience may not be suitable for everyone though. Please visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence and contact an appropriate entity to find out if it is suitable for you. Also please note that trading foreign exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this video, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. Let's kick off this video with taking a look at the euro-dollar daily chart, and you can see that it is in an uptrend, of course, but price is correcting slowly but surely to the downside. And is this a reversal or just a correction within the uptrend? So far, I'm leaning towards the latter, the correction within the uptrend. Because to me, this is looking like a bull flag continuation chart pattern. When we see price moving choppily like this, it could easily be a wave 4 for those that like waves. All right, especially if price manages to stay above the 23.6 fib, the 38, and even the 50 fib. All right, now for me, from my perspective, a break above this bull flag would confirm the potential for wave 5. First of all, to challenge the top. But after that, if it breaks, to challenge the round level of 120, and then even up to higher, up to 1, which is the minus 272 target of this particular fib. If, for whatever reason, the bull flag does not break this week, because this is a daily chart, so it could break next week, it could break the week after that, you know, these things take some time. If it challenges again this particular bottom, that could be a bounce or break spot. So it could bounce within this channel like this, or it could break and then go down to the 38.2 fib. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart for more details on that. So basically you can see here that price is bouncing at the top of this channel again and the weekly pivot point. So what it could do is basically re-challenge the long-term moving average, re-challenge this bottom and the S1, and that's a new bounce or break spot. So what could happen if it does bounce, then I think that there's a good chance of a breakout later on as well, above the weekly pivot point to the R1 basically, and then from the R1 to the R2. But if it breaks the S1, then I'm looking for a breakout to the S2 and then to the S3. I'll be trading basically a break, pullback, continue down to the S3, and a break, pullback, continue above the bull flag as well. So this is the bearish zone basically, this is the bullish zone from my perspective, and trying to see how price will test the resistance and test the support and let it decide. Let's see what price will, react, and I'm going to follow the reaction, either, well, preferably to the upside, to be honest, but I would not necessarily skip this particular breakout to the 38.2 fib. Another potential trade idea of mine that I'm monitoring is a bounce at the S3 and the 38.2 fib for a bounce to the upside as well. So that's something that I'll keep an eye on, because that could be a big trade too, from 115 perhaps to 120. That could be a big zone too. So from my perspective, a bit of indecisive start at this moment, but all in all, I think your dollar looks bullish. It's just a question of waiting for the bullish break or waiting for a bigger bullish retracement for more upside. If price, for whatever reason, this week, next week, breaks below the 115, then I'm definitely a bit more cautious. I still think the 50 fib could be a bouncing spot, but the tables are turning a bit, and we'll have to see how far the dollar strength can push. Regarding the pound USD, let's take a look at that. We see that price is basically close to the minus 61.8 target, or has hit it already. In any case, if it does extend further, the 127.50 level and 128 level, I think is a support level. There's a S1, there's a target as well, so that could create a bounce. So at this moment, I think it's too early to say if price will continue lower like this and then bounce, or if it will bounce right away. From my time factor point of view, basically I think that it's still bearish, because we had a lower low recently, and this is the 4th candle. If today does not break this low though, then I think that there could be a bigger chance of a bounce up to the weekly pivot point, and if it breaks above the weekly pivot point, up to the R1. So if it does break above the weekly pivot point, I would put a fib from here to here, and then to here, or even here, and looked basically for retracement to the 38, 50, or 61.8 fib at 130. Basically 130 and 131 are strong targets. Why? Because there's round levels, 130 is a round level, 131 is a round level, and there are fibs, 38 and 61.8, and there are R1 and R2 weekly pivot points from the Admiral Markets Supreme Edition. If you're interested in pivot points, I recommend taking a look at the MT4 Supreme Edition, which you can download at admiralmarkets.com. So those are good confidence levels where we could see bounces. So this is bullish zone in my opinion right here, and this is bullish zone there, with of course respect also have to be expected at the 50 fib too. And if it does break lower, I'm not expecting much of a downside before there's a potential bounce at 127.50. So there's a small trade down in here, but not much space before price I think will bounce and make a potential ABC. Sorry, that should be blue to the upside. All right, so now if it does break below 127.50, I stand corrected. Perhaps there could be an extension of the bearish momentum, which can always happen. But I am definitely cautious of the 127.50, 128 support zone. All right. Oh, and by the way, if we take a look at the daily chart, then at that 131 level, at the 61 and 61.8 fib and the R2, I think there could be a head and shoulders pattern. This could be the left shoulder, this could be the right shoulder, this could be the head, and this is then the potential neckline if it does bounce here. So there could be an ABC up to the 61.8, a turn, and a fall down to, for instance, the minus 61.8 target like that. So that I think is the path of least resistance at the moment. Whether a bounce here or a bit lower still remains to be seen. But anyhow, if it does get up to 131, I think that could be an interesting head and shoulders level. All right, more webinars, of course, coming up throughout the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have live trading sessions on Monday to Wednesday. Thursday, of course, we take a look at education. This time, we're going to dive into cryptocurrencies for the first time, so I hope to see you in one of these webinars. And last but not least, the dollar-yen weekly chart, quite indecisive when you look at this particular time frame because there's a range right here indicated by the red and the blue, red resistance, blue support, and of course a triangle as well. If you connect the dots here, the tops and bottoms, and you have a support and resistance, contracting triangle here, a bid formation. So definitely looking corrective. I think that at this moment it's a bit tricky. Price is basically testing support level at this moment. If it does break to the downside, there's a small space down to the support trend line, which is roughly at, it's always a rough zone, of course, at around 106 at this moment. So small zone, if it breaks below that, then there could be more extension to the downside, perhaps to test the bottom again and maybe even break below the bottom. Let's see. Before we dive into, before we elaborate on that, perhaps I should take a look at this support and resistance level within this triangle. So you can see both sides have small breaks. On the weekly chart, there's small zones to the up and downside. Now, of course, if we zoom into lower time frames, those zones will start to look a bit bigger. On a 4-hour chart, you can see that if price is able to break through the S1, there should be some small space left to the S2, which is 107.50, right? So break of 108.25, break, pullback continuation down to 107.50 could be a small trade there, and if it breaks 107.50, perhaps down to 106 and 105. So those are some break, pullback, continuation extensions possible to the downside. If it does bounce, right, if it turns here like that, then there could be a challenge of resistance again, and price could go back to test the top of that sideways zone. So interesting zone. Let's see which way it breaks. For the moment, I'm leaning perhaps slightly towards the bearish break. If it happens today, I think that will make sense. If it doesn't happen today, there could be a bigger correction going on the 4-hour chart I'm talking about though. So let's see if there is today doesn't break, there could be maybe, for instance, a sideways zone like that and then a break. So for the bullish bounce to materialize, not only would price not break below this bottom, but I think it would have to break above the weekly pivot point 2 for this particular area to to be used. All right, and then in that case there could be this breakout trade between R1 pivot point R1 and R2 and R2 and R3, right? So confirmation levels, basically the S1 and the weekly pivot point. Let's see if price breaks and to which direction. All right. For the moment, I'm slightly in favor of a bearish breakout, but let's see. It could go sideways as well, and then it basically increases the likelihood of a bearish break as well. But more importantly is whether it breaks below the S1 or above the weekly pivot point. All right, that wraps up the video. Hope to see you in the webinars. Of course, check out admiralmarkets.com for the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition and the weekly pivot point indicator, plus many other 60 plus extra features. Of course, check out admiralmarkets.com as well for analytics, webinars, articles, how to trade, opening account, etc. Wish you all great trading. Talk to you soon. Cheers.